The test is in 4 parts: Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. Now look at Part 1.
Listen to a university teacher giving a lecture about emblematic buildings and answer questions 1 to 4.
Right. Today we're going to consider emblematic buildings. That is, buildings which are closely associated with the city where they're situated, and which almost represent the city to the outside world. You know, if you think of Athens, you think of the Acropolis and the Parthenon. Or for Sydney, you think of its Opera House. Recently, a lot of other cities around the world have been following the example of Sydney and putting up emblematic buildings. Bilbao, for example, in northern Spain, opened its own Guggenheim Museum in 1999. This houses an important collection of modern art and attracts 1 million visitors to the city every year. In other cities, modern additions to existing buildings have proved a tremendous attraction, as is the case of the glass pyramid in front of the Louvre in Paris, a museum which gets about 5 million visits a year. This is only surpassed by Paris's other emblematic building, the Eiffel Tower, with 6 million. Projects of this type can make a big difference to a city. Let's take the example of Valencia, a city in eastern Spain. Relatively few people used to visit Valencia some years ago. In 1992, it received only 75,000 tourists. However, its city authorities embarked on an extremely ambitious project to create a city of arts and sciences. And when it opened in 2001, its futuristic science museum received no less than 4 million visitors in the first year. The effect of these buildings is tremendous. And even cities in relatively poor countries are doing the same thing. Just look at the new library in Alexandria in Egypt as an example.
Before the lecture continues, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen to the second part of the lecture and answer questions 5 to 10.
These emblematic buildings bring many more visitors to their cities, but that's only one of a number of benefits that arise. In Valencia, the city of arts and sciences breathed new life into a depressed industrial area of the town, and this has now become a prime residential zone, as well as a tourist attraction. The effort and vision which goes into completing a project like this also has the effect of enhancing the city's image. Previously, if people thought about Valencia at all, it was seen as a provincial backwater, whereas now it sticks in people's minds. Valencia's progressive and energetic. The City of Arts and Sciences has put Valencia on the international map, and that brings in plenty of new investment from outside, as people realize what excellent business opportunities the city offers. Nowadays, the competition among cities to attract attention from tourists, politicians, and business people is fierce. And in Valencia, they realized that it's not sufficient to have just one emblematic building which will serve for a single short visit. For this reason, they've built an entire complex of buildings. Looking at the next slide, which shows a plan of the City of Arts and Sciences, you'll see what I mean. You park your car in a building which, amazingly, has a garden with palm trees and sculpture on its roof. You go down some steps, and in front of you, you're faced with the colossal Science Museum, with its huge white arches. This, and the combined planetarium and large-screen film theater nearby, are surrounded by artificial lakes, and from a distance, they appear to be floating on water. The effect is magical, as the whole complex is built in shining white concrete which reflects in the water. Further along, beyond the planetarium, is the new opera house and theater complex, which from a distance looks like a vast ship. In the opposite direction, they've built the equally breathtaking Oceanographic Park, which is the largest in Europe and features, amongst other things, an underwater restaurant.
That is the end of part 1. Now turns to part 2.
You are going to hear a news broadcast about proposed developments in a local area and about a local college. First, look at questions 11 to 14. Listen carefully and decide which 4 planned developments are mentioned.
And now for our main headlines on Southern local news for today. First of all, the report relating to the proposed motorway and other developments around the village of Tartlesbury was published this morning. And, as has been expected, it has created quite a lot of interest. The new motorway will pass along the north side of the village, crossing the River Team less than half a kilometre from the well-known beauty spot, Streve Ford, to the northeast of the village. The motorway will cut the village off from the ford, where many children play. But that is not the end of it. There are also plans to build 1,000 houses on farmland west of the village. And on top of that, there are proposals to build an industrial estate for new technology companies on the site of the old steelworks on the edge of the village. A news centre with a swimming pool and a very wide range of sports facilities and a large supermarket with other shops are also planned next to the housing estate.
Before the broadcast continues, look at questions 15 to 20. You will now listen to the second part of the talk. For questions 15 to 18, put a tick in either column A or column B for each of the people mentioned. For questions 19 and 20, decide which of the 4 alternatives is the most suitable answer and circle the correct letter.
Mr. Jones, a local farmer we spoke to early today, is strongly against the plans. But the local council is pushing for them to be adopted in full. They say that new housing is needed in the area and that it is an opportunity to take advantage of government grants for setting up new technology developments. The mayor, Mr. Funn, says, We must make every effort to do our part for the economy of the country and for the local people. This is a golden opportunity to put Tartlesbury on the map. Reactions to Mr. Funn's comments have been quick to come. Surprisingly, when we contacted the spokesman of the local conservation group, he was very much for the planned developments. But not all the local groups support the scheme. And, unlike the mayor, the local MP, Mrs. Wright, is very much against the planned developments. Mr. Khan, a local shopkeeper, had this to say: "People are absolutely horrified at what is being proposed here. This is just a chance for some people to make money quickly. But I can assure you that if they think that local people are going to be a walkover, they have another think coming. Of course, we welcome the jobs that the new technology park will bring, but we feel that the large increase in housing and the proposed motorway will destroy the character of the area." I think this is a debate that is going to run on for quite some time, and we here on Local News will keep you informed. And now for something quite different. This year's exam results have just come out, and there are a lot of happy faces out there. It would seem that the number of young people going on to university from the local college in Upton, which is not far from Tartlesbury, has increased by 25% this year. All those who have applied to go to university or into teacher training colleges have found places. This is the first time that there has been a 100% success rate at the college. We spoke earlier to the principal of the college, who said she was very proud of all those who had achieved their aims, and she wished them every success in the future. There will be another news bulletin at 11 p.m. And for now, it's back to more music from around the world.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.